Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Convo, where we talk about all things supernatural. Today, I'm going to talk about the Loch Ness Monster, a real famous cryptid that everyone kind of knows about. So, let's dive in. Pun not intended. The Loch Ness Monster, also known as Nessie, is another cryptid that resides in none other than Loch Ness in Scotland. The story of the creature broke into the worldwide news in 1933, but the creature had been reported a lot earlier than that, hundreds of years before. The first ever report of the cryptid was all the way back in 565 in the book The Life of Saint Columba by Ottoman. It's something like that. Old names are hard to pronounce. The land was they were staying in the land of the Picts, where they say the villagers were burying a man by the river Ness, not the Loch. The man was swimming and he was attacked by a creature that dragged him under. St. Columba, an Irish monk who was with the author, sent a man out to retrieve the body, and the creature, went after the men again. So the monk made the sign of the cross, did a little prayer, and the beast swam away. I don't know why, he didn't think to just, run away quickly. He was like, no, we shall pray and that will solve it. I would just run. Many people question if the author was telling the truth because, he's an author. He has to sell a story somehow. It should also be seen that at this point, many people did not believe that the monster resided in the loch, but actually in the river, which leads some to believe that Ottoman's story is separate from the actual Loch Ness monster. And then there were a lot of sightings in the late 1800s. One was in 1871 by D. Mackenzie and in 1888 by Alexander MacDonald. 1933 to 1934 caused chaos, and I love it. In April of 1933, a couple reported seeing an enormous animal after it crossed their car's path. The Daily Mail actually sent someone in December to go hunt the creature. They were so confident that they sent someone out, guys. The man's name was Marmaduke Wetherall, and he reported seeing very large footprints that came from a soft-footed animal. Sadly, this was confirmed by the Natural History Museum to belong to an umbrella stand. How does someone mistake an umbrella stand for a footprint? There should only be one, and this man was like, oh, that's an animal. Another sad thought was that the man, Hugh Gray, thought that he had gotten the first photograph of the creature. It turned out to be an otter. There's a lot of, oh, I took a picture of it. Actually, that's just some wood. Then the most famous picture was taken in 1934, which was published on April 21st. This photo is dubbed the surgeon's photograph, which may have been taken by Robert Kenneth Wilson. He refused to attach his name to it, so that's the reason the nickname was formed. We still got his name, though, don't worry. 60 years later, people still believe this photo. It was evidence for 60 long years, guys. With cropping, it was never known how big the waves and ripples were around the creature, what it was, how big it really was, and which led to more and more speculation. My cup of tea. Since 1994, though, it has been seen as a hoax. On December 7th, 1975, it was described as a hoax by the Sunday Telegraph. In the book, Nessie, the surgeon's photograph exposed, the details of how the photo were taken were put out for all the public to see. The creature was said to be a toy submarine that was being used by Marmaduke Wetherall's son-in-law. You know, that one dude that couldn't tell the difference between animals and technology. And this is why it happened. Marmaduke was mad that his footprints were seen as a hoax, so he went off and he was getting that sweet, sweet revenge. He got his friend Sperling, a sculptor, his son Ian, an insurance agent named Maurice Chambers. This man was ready to fight fire with more fire. They created the sculpture, and it was soon tested to make sure that it would float. So they went off to the loch and took photos. Then they sunk it so that it could not be found again. After the photos were all nice and whatever, he sent them to the Daily Mail, where it spread. A while later, in 1954, a sonar reading was taken at 146 meters, where it then disappeared. British with the freaking meters. This is one of the only things in the last couple of decades that could be seen as, real concrete evidence. The next year, a man named Peter McNabb photographed something that had been 2 humps in the water. It was not made public until 1957, when it was published in a book. In 1960, the Densdale film was created, which is a video of a hump moving across the water. And in 1993, the video was enhanced in a documentary where it was said, quote, "Before I saw the film, I thought the Loch Ness Monster was a load of rubbish. Having done the enhancement, I'm not so sure," unquote. Another video was taken in 2007, named the Holmes video, Real Sherlock Here. On May 26, 2007, Gordon Holmes, I just got a text, okay, a laboratory technician, took a video of a jet black thing that was moving through the water at very fast speeds. Marine biologist Adrian Shine said that the footage was the best that he had ever seen. So it's finally something that isn't definitely a hoax. There are many searches over the decades in hopes of finding the elusive creature. They all led to nothing, like almost every cryptid, sadly. Time for theories. There are many animals that it may be. It could be birdwakes, eels, an elephant, which I don't understand because it's Scotland, but go off, I guess. A Greenland shark, a Wells catfish, and other animals that were in and around the loch. There also are just some random things that it could be. Trees, seiches, optical effects, and seismic gas. Don't ask me what that is. This may be the largest collecting of skeptic theories that I've ever had to research so far. But then there's the supernatural theories that mostly lead back to a lot of old Scottish folklore. The biggest theory is that it's a creature called a kelpie, which I think I may have mentioned in my Fae video, is a water horse that, the folklore was created to keep children away from the loch so they don't, drown and die. And then there's the plesiosaur. Any really dinosaur person is going to be like, that's not how you pronounce it. God, stop. An extinct dinosaur that should have died millions of years ago. This is unlikely because of the extinction, but also because 1, it's too cold in the loch and the plesiosaur should have lived in more tropical waters. 2, the dinosaur could not have lifted its head out of the water in the way that the photos and videos show. And 3, the loch is only 10,000 years old and was frozen for 20,000 years before. So it's highly unlikely that there is a ancient dinosaur staying in there. Time to tell y'all things to read, listen, watch. I don't know. There is this documentary called Incident at Loch Ness and another called Mysterious Monsters. The Mysterious Monsters one also dives into other creatures like the Abominable Snowman and Bigfoot. There's also the book The Loch Ness Monster, The Evidence by Stuart Campbell. And here's the segment of interviews. I hate this part. My mom said that, quote, "could be there unless it can't reproduce because then it's probably dead." I mean, that's true. A dinosaur, if it is not going to live for millions upon millions of years. Unless aliens. My younger brother said, quote, "he's real." Short but sweet. And lastly, my younger sister said, quote, "he's the opposite of scary and looks like a dinosaur." Which is why one of the theories is a dinosaur. This cryptid is one that is a little hard for me to believe in. I know. The true believer is throwing in the cap a little. No, towel. And no expressions. After all the hoaxes and things that have come out, it may have never actually been real. Some of the accounts do seem genuine, though, but after the tyranny that is hoaxes, it's most likely fake, guys. But, we may never know. So that concludes this episode of Cryptid Convo. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe down below and also comment what cryptid or other creature you want to see next, and I'll make sure to look into it. Stay spooky, guys, and goodbye.